Hello, welcome to this demo of the US Cyber Range exercise area. I'm starting on the US Cyber Range webpage at uscyberrange.org, and I am currently logged in to the US Cyber Range using an instructor account. So I'm logged in as an instructor. At the top of the page, I'm going to click on the Exercises tab, and this brings me to the US Cyber Range exercise area. This instructor dashboard includes buttons on the top right corner of the screen, as well as tabs at the bottom of the screen. And here I'm on my main instructor page, so the only button I have at the upper right will allow me to request a new course in the US Cyber Range. So to request a new course, I select that button and I enter a course name, brief description, and I can set begin and end dates, and then click the confirm button, and then that course request will go to an organizational administrator who will approve or deny the course. Also on my home page is a listing of courses that I am an instructor for. In this case, there's only a single course, and it's called Cybersecurity Fundamentals. If I click on that course, my dashboard changes. Now I'm inside a course. I get some more features at the top right corner of the page, and then listed below are exercise environments instead of separate courses. The buttons at the top right corner of the screen allow me to edit the course, so that lets me change the name, the description, and other course details. On the far right, there's a delete button, so I can delete the course. And then in between are buttons to add exercise environments and manage course users. So I'll click on the Manage Course Users button. What I get here is a list of students and instructors in the course. So currently I'm the only instructor, and there are also 2 students enrolled. To enroll more students, I would click on the Invite a User to this course button, and then I can enroll students one at a time by entering first name, last name, and email address. Or I can invite multiple users either by pulling in students from a CSV file or from Google Classroom. When I do that, each one of the students receives an email with a one-time use link that they can click on, and that will bring them into this course in the range. Another way to bring students into the course is to click on the invitation code button. Here I've got an invitation code that I can share with my students, and so when my students go to the US Cyber Range login page, they click on a link that says use invitation code, and then they enter this invitation code to join the class. I'm going to zoom back out to the course level. So I click the Manage Course Users button. Now I'll take a look at the Add Exercise Environments button. So once I have students in my course, next thing I would want to do is add environments so that the students can interact with network infrastructure. What we provide here is a drop-down list of about a dozen or so exercise environments. These include everything from standalone Unix, Linux, and Windows virtual machines to small network environments with multiple VMs. If I click on one of these environments, I get a name, a brief description of the environment, and then I get a link that will take me to a web page in the courseware repository that gives me a more detailed description of the exercise environment. At the bottom of the Create a New Exercise Environment page, I can specify the start date and the end date that this environment will be visible to the students, and then when I click Confirm, this exercise environment will be provisioned for each one of the students enrolled in my class. In this case, I'm going to cancel that action. Down at the bottom of the page, I see 2 exercise environments that I've already provisioned for my students. One of them is the Cyber Basics environment, and the other one is the Introduction to Forensics environment. So if I click on the Cyber Basics environment, I see at the top of the screen the name of the environment, a brief description, and then the availability dates to the students, and I also get buttons to start the exercise environment, copy the exercise environment, or reset the exercise environment. At the bottom of the screen, I see each exercise environment for the students in my course. So in this case, I only have 2 students enrolled, so I see 2 exercise environments, and I can click into either one of these student exercise environments. I'm going to click the Start button. The Start button starts up the virtual machines that power this exercise environment, and in order to save costs, we keep virtual machines powered off until the student needs to use them. So when the student logs into the CyberRange and goes to their exercise environment, they click that Start button, and it takes 20 or 30 seconds for those virtual systems to get started up in the background. This particular exercise environment contains 4 virtual machines. One of them is a Kali Linux virtual machine. That's the one that the students will directly interact with. Then there's a vulnerable web application, a vulnerable Samba server, and a FTP server. Now that my virtual systems are all powered up, I can click the Join button, and what I get in another browser tab is the desktop of, in this case, a Kali Linux virtual machine that is running in my isolated virtual environment in the cloud. So when I log in, I see the desktop of my Kali Linux virtual machine. If I click the terminal button, I get a terminal, and I can interact at the command line just like I would if that was the base operating system on my tablet computer. I can also bring up a web browser, and here I can click on a link to a web page. So I mentioned that these are isolated network environments, so each student gets their own copy of an exercise environment in our cloud infrastructure, and those environments are all isolated from each other, so they can't impact other students' virtual environments. They're also isolated from the internet, except we do allow student access to the World Wide Web through a proxy. And what that proxy does is it makes sure that students can't go to any resources outside of the CyberRange that are not valid web servers running HTTP or HTTPS. So that prevents students from taking any malicious action to external hosts from within the US CyberRange. And we also do some very aggressive web filtering at that proxy so that the students are prevented from going to any not safe for work content, no gambling content, no crypto mining pages. All that stuff is very carefully filtered, and that's to ensure that schools can maintain their SIPA compliance or Child Internet Protection Act compliance. What this access to the web does allow students to do is it allows them to update software or add software on their Linux or Windows computers, and it also allows them to go out to web pages and grab digital artifacts that they may want to examine from within their US CyberRange virtual environments. So that is the end of the demo. Thanks for joining us. My name is David Raymond. I'm the director of the US CyberRange. You can contact me at david@uscyberrange.org.